Yo guys, so let's paint a goth girl. So last part we were able to transform the mood of the painting from this to this, and as much as I really like it, I feel like we lost some features that we used to have in the original piece. So what we're going to be focusing on today is mainly the hairstyle and also designing our scene to include more things, because at the moment we've got actually like a lot of dead space in our piece, like even especially on the right side over here. Maybe we don't even need to fill like all the space, but we can just add some textures in and maybe fill the space that way. And also, since I'm changing the hairstyle, we might as well change the face as well. I feel like looking at the face right now, it does look a bit soulless, but thinking about it now, it is an alt girl, so like it does make sense if it is, but I feel like we can push it to look a bit better. What else do we need to change? The clothing as well, but we'll work on that a bit like later after we've done the face and the hairstyle. So let's get into it. So what I'm doing right now is just added a new layer, and I'm just gonna draw up a bunch of iterations to maybe like fix the face and get the vibe down. If that doesn't work, then maybe we'll just paint it in, but I want to try drawing it first. So over here I did a quick markup of a bunch of hairstyles and also changed the expression. So we've got a bunch of iterations of hairstyles we can choose from. I think the expression is a lot better in my opinion. The only issue is it's hard to really get a vibe from any of these. We just got to choose one that we like. Tough decision. I think I like this the most because it's like the only one with like a sense of identity. So I feel like I want to incorporate this one the most compared to the others. The others are a little bit generic in my opinion. A little. I mean, they all could work. I think they're all an improvement, but I like the silhouette that this kind of brings. So I think it would be a good idea to incorporate this. So anyways, yeah, let's get started. We changed the hairstyle into a more flowy kind of hairstyle with more shapes involved, and we even gave her more of an expression and less of a soulless look. So in my opinion, she has a lot more identity than she had before. It's way more improved than the previous design. Obviously we can further improve it, but I'm at a stage right now where I'm comfortable moving on from it and working on something else in the paintings. Right now I want to focus on the clothing. Now the clothing is defined, but it's just not rendered. Like it's just a bunch of plain simple shapes that I just put down, and I want to further emphasize the shape and the values. We could even implement some like kind of hair accessories. I feel like we just need to render these metallic things over here. Maybe have the clothing draped down to further indicate some form. Hell yeah. I'm not too sure, but it just needs to be rendered at this point. So right now, let's move on to the clothing. So I've just finished painting some metal and I wanted to introduce this to more of the clothing design. I think it's actually pretty cool the way I rendered this, especially. I still have to render it a bit more. So the way to render metal is basically you need to understand the properties of metal, how it reacts to light. So pretty much the way I'd like to think about it is when light hits plastic, it's a very gradual transition from light to dark, and it doesn't get that dark. When it comes to metal, it's more of a reflective material. So basically you're going to get a lot of darks and they're usually going to transition very quickly, and you're also going to have a lot of brights, like so. Just think of it like a mirror. And speaking of mirrors, it also catches light from objects next to it. As you can see here, I've painted skin color all over the metal because it is a reflective material. You can even see here there's a bit of skin color as well. I obviously did it very subtle, but that's how I rendered metal. Obviously I'm not the best at rendering metal, but honestly it kind of does the trick. It's honestly a very long process, to be honest. Metal is one of those things that takes ages, but it's well worth it. And I'm going to continue rendering this, so I don't know how long that's gonna take. Anyways, I'll check back with you guys in a bit. So I'm gonna move on to the background because my brain's like currently not really working when it comes to working on the clothing. So I'm gonna move on to the background because I'm not gonna lie, my brain is just not working at the moment. And I'm not really much of a designer myself, so designing clothes, I basically suck at it. I'm just gonna move on to the background and then hope something comes into mind while I'm doing the background. So yeah, anyways, look on the bright side. I actually really like the way I rendered the metal on the clothing, and I think it's one of the best like features and qualities. So I'm glad that I was able to tough out the hours and just like render all that. But yeah, right now we're gonna work on the background and hopefully it all comes naturally to me while I'm doing the background to improve the clothing. Or basically I'm moving on the background to like cure my tunnel vision so that the next time I look at the clothing I can hopefully know what to do. That's the idea anyways. Let's get started with the background. Okay, so I've rendered the environment up until this point and added this like smoky effect to the background, like kind of surrounding her, and it was just my way of like bringing the attention towards her. Like you see all these lines kind of pointing towards her, so I actually really like that, especially here there's like lines pointing towards her. And then you've got the Tory gate like literally framing her like a picture frame. There's a lot of like subtle stuff in this composition that's like trying to lead the eye towards this character, and kind of the main reason why I really like this painting so far. I also added all these like textures and stuff to fill in the space, and I also want to add some like decorations. So we're gonna do that like whenever. I don't really know when I'm gonna do it, but I will do it. And the only part of the painting that I really want to focus on is this part of the painting. Now what I was thinking was maybe we could have like some clouds or something in this area of the painting, and then we'll have like a graveyard, because I feel like that's kind of fitting with this character. Maybe she's like a necromancer or something, or like, I don't know, man. Like, it looks like it would be really fitting for her to have like some kind of graveyard here and stuff. So I do want to add that. I also smoothed the face out a bit. Compared to like the previous version of the piece, because she was kind of looking a bit old, and that's not the kind of character I was envisioning. I was kind of envisioning a younger character, so got rid of some of the facial wrinkles here that is evident right there. Got rid of that, and also just smoothed out the face a lot more and added some lighting here. Made the eyes a bit more angular than before. I feel like it's actually going towards the painting that I am envisioning. So yeah, anyways, let's move on to this part of the painting, and then we could render the whole thing as a whole, and then we should be done pretty soon. But yeah, liking how it's looking so far, and let's get into it. So here's basically what I envisioned a bit, like with the graveyard and stuff. I got like some kind of like, I don't know, like grave house with like a cloud over it, kind of encircling this area. Initially I had everything like super dark, but then I realized like it doesn't really match with this, because like one side would be super dark and then the other would be super bright. But now it looks a lot better in terms of like values and stuff. One does obviously look darker than the other, but at least it looks like it's a part of the same background. So yeah, I'm actually liking how it looks so far. I also added some color dodge onto the character, so to the eyes and also the background. I think it's a bit overdone on the background, so I might just bring it down a bit. And I don't know if I could push it further than what it's currently at. But yeah, we've gone through a lot of changes, so I'm actually pretty happy with it. Like I said, this painting has more transformations than Goku. Yo guys, so I feel like this is a good position for the painting to end here. This painting definitely challenged me in all sorts of different ways, so I feel like this was a very important piece to do. The only thing that I'm disappointed in is that I didn't really design the outfit in a way that actually looks like really good. It's a bit simple, but I do appreciate like the metal I did on the character and stuff like that. I feel like the rendering for that is really good. But overall, I do really enjoy this painting. I actually put a lot more effort than what I put in with my other paintings. So I feel like whatever result we got here today was definitely well deserved. But yeah, I'm actually pretty proud of it, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. But I hope you guys learned something from this, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.